welcome to Have I Got News For You? I'm Naga Munchetty. In the news this week, Debbie Hemsley from Watford is particularly pleased with her new enhanced breast implants. As he gives evidence to the COVID inquiry, Boris Johnson keeps standing up to tuck in his shirt.
Please sit down. Please sit down. I'm sorry, if you don't sit down, I'm going to ask the ushers to get you to leave.
And at a restaurant in Mayfair, one customer congratulates kitchen staff for successfully hiding a pubic hair in his dinner, yet again. On Ian's team tonight is a comedian whose first television appearance was on The Chase, where she got most of the questions wrong and went home with no money. Perfect training for being on this programme. Please welcome Maisie Adam. On Paul's team tonight is one of the country's best-known fiction writers. In fact, he's right up there with Omid Scobie. Let's welcome Richard Osman. We begin with the bigger news stories of the week. Ian and Maisie, have a look at this.
Oh, writing a naughty and nice list for Christmas? Thumbs up if you're incapable of love.
That's Eat Out to Help Out. They've successfully deported one person to Rwanda. And unfortunately, he came back again. This is James Cleverly, the only man who's got an adverb for a surname. I always listen to it and think, James cleverly went to Rwanda. Not that clever.
The essence of the Rwanda Treaty is
that if British law says Rwanda is safe, it's safe. If British law says the cat is a dog, so it is. The main thing for the Tory backbenchers is to stop foreign courts telling us what to do. And the most disrespectful foreign court is the British Supreme Court, which is obviously full of foreigners. I hadn't spotted it, but it does seem to be, and they've got to be stopped.
What was James Cleverly's priority when signing the treaty?
I think just to stay in his job. Because he was Home Secretary quite recently, and now... he was Foreign Secretary, and now he's Home Secretary.
Yes, they rotate. They're sort of sugar babes-esque, aren't they?
That's what I was thinking.
Yes.
He's very much the mucha buena.
He's the mucha.
He was the one who originally said that the Rwanda scheme was batshit.
Batshit crazy.
I think he says he doesn't recall saying that, or he doesn't...
How do you not remember saying the Rwanda policy is batshit crazy?
Well, other people say they don't remember shouting, "Party, everybody, get the booze in."
How many parties do you go to here? I want to go to New Year's at yours. That sounded like, you know, when you have, like, community theatre come into your school to tell you not to do drugs.
I think you're being unfair on Ian. The last party I went to was to celebrate the anniversary of the repeal of the Corn Law. Wow, I didn't get home till 6:30 in the evening.
The story is the government is falling apart, and...
What's the news story?
Jenrick's gone. Jenrick's gone. He's resigned, hasn't he?
Yes, he was Immigration Minister.
Yes.
Briefly.
And he said that Rishi's plan is doomed, and he said it's not tough enough.
Yes.
Not tough enough, which shows he is a man of the people, because if there's one thing we all said about the Rwanda policy was it was too nice.
Jenrick is the man who wanted the mural in the immigration centre for children removed. Do you remember there were some nice cartoons? And he said it's too welcoming. And, you know, those kids, God, they're going to get the wrong idea, aren't they?
3 of them were Boris's.
Suella, she keeps sticking an oar in, doesn't she? Well, no, she doesn't. She doesn't want the oars. She doesn't want the boats, does she?
She's not happy, and Rishi Sunak is left in the middle, and his policy, which was stop the votes...
When he does his speech about that, You remember, like, during COVID, it would say, keep your distance or something on front of the podium. They were telling you what to do on front of the podium.
Yes.
Now on the front of the podium, it says, stop the boats, as if he's asking us to do it. And I'm always like, I'm just genuinely quite busy.
Shall we look at Rishi defending the treaty? It's interesting. This is him on Thursday at the Downing Street conference.
Claiming asylum, that's now blocked. Abuse of our modern slavery rules, blocked. The idea that Rwanda isn't safe, blocked. The risk of being sent to some other country, blocked. And spurious human rights claims, you'd better believe that we've blocked those too.
All I'm thinking is, how am I going to stop the boats, Rishi?
What did you make of his presentation there?
Not good. Not good.
It's like when they have to do a task on The Apprentice, when they have to pitch to people. You go, and you better believe this is the best milk substitute in the world.
I thought it would be useful to give Rishi some tips on presentation from the Argentinian president.
Ministerio de Trabajo, Empleo y Seguridad Social, afuera. Ministerio de Educación, adoctrinamiento, afuera. Ministerio de Transporte, afuera.
I know him. We go to the same hairdresser.
What else has James cleverly unveiled?
Is it a statue of Suella?
That's next week.
He's unveiled a new policy to stop legal migration reaching 700,000, which is, you know, the main figure. The stopping the boats is a tiny percentage of that. So he's saying that people now have to earn 37,000 in order to be able to stay here, which is lucky for Rishi Sunak's wife, who's pretty border.
The government's saying it cannot go any further with the Rwanda treaty, as the Rwandans wouldn't let the government do anything more extreme.
Right, that's sovereignty for you.
The president of Rwanda got 98% of the vote. Paul
Yeah, it's
Kagame.
good.
It's not bad in the democracy. To give you a clue about how big 98% is, on Pointless once we showed a picture of planet Earth.
Yes.
Said, what is this? And it scored 91.
Really?
I knew I should have gone on that and not the chase.
I'd love to know what the other 9
Oh,
answers.
my God, I know. They're out there driving somewhere.
Yeah.
There's a Conservative MP for Stoke-on-Trent North.
Jonathan Gullis.
Oh.
Yes, Jonathan Gullis. Now, he's hoping to appeal to the working-class Tory vote. He's very focused on a single issue.
They got stuck in North Islington having chai latte and avocado and toast. We don't want the chai latte avocado brigade arriving anytime soon. Avocado eating, chai latte drinking elite. Drinking chai latte and scoffing down quinoa.
What's he got against them? Oh, Naga.
They're really good. They're really, really good.
Where's the avocado? Oh, you're wearing it.
Yes. The ulterior motive Robert Jenrick might have for jumping ship.
I'm assuming he wants to be leader, much as Suella Braverman does.
There's another as well. Grant Shapps.
There's a thing on GB News, which we did on this programme, called
Lager with Lee.
Lager with Lee. Lee Andertle, as he's known.
You're on fire today.
He does this show, and apparently Grant Shapps is going to do something that rhymes with Shapps.
Yeah.
Peach Schnapps?
Snaps.
Peach Schnapps
Is
with
it-
Grant
is that-
Shapps.
Absolutely right. Well done. Genius.
What is happening?
There used to be Fizz with Liz. You went round to Liz Truss's and felt ill.
Guess some others.
Is there chai tea with the Stoke-on-Trent MP?
Very, very good. Very, very good.
Cheese and wine with Michael Heseltine.
Hancock?
No, thank you. No.
Who called the government's record a betrayal of the promises to control immigration?
Chico?
Keir Starmer. This was in a Telegraph interview. What else did he say?
He admired Margaret Thatcher. That was the one that caught the
Oh,
headline.
yeah.
That support for Margaret Thatcher got lots of coverage in the press,
Yes.
but not one of them bothered to show how Keir Starmer would look with Margaret Thatcher's hair. Why not? How did you miss that? So we've done it for you.
Looks like every housewife from Coronation Street.
I mean, it doesn't look like it's been photoshopped, that's the thing. It looks genuine.
I keep expecting him to start singing Surprise, Surprise.
So this is the government's attempt to send people to Rwanda. The government's latest immigration policy now makes it harder for anyone to bring their wife or spouse into the country. This sounds petty, it's probably just aimed at Prince Harry. The BBC covered Robert Jenrick's resignation and protest of the bill, including the question that everyone is asking. Paul and Richard, take a look at this.
Yes. OK, this is a man who set his alarm clock too early. There he's been injected with some backbone.
And that's literally just before the Bible catches fire.
Boris has appeared at the COVID inquiry on Wednesday and Thursday and claimed that when he said things like, let people die, he was just expressing views that other people had said, him being one of them. I wasn't entirely convinced by the emotional bit.
And the fact that he had an onion chopped up in front of him.
He did claim that he'd done his level best. I'm thinking of levels.
I believe
I'm thinking of levels.
I believe that was his best.
Yeah, you believe?
Yeah.
So his level, he'd say he was up here when it came to doing his level best.
Oh,
Well, I wouldn't go that high.
no. Just put your arms down.
How did Boris prepare for his appearance?
You know, I imagine on these situations you want to sort of practice, you know, in a room where people fire questions at you and you're, you know, determined not to lose your temper, show even-handed spirit sort of thing while people shout fuckwit at you.
I bet Carrie was more than happy to do a few practices of that.
According to The Times, Boris's legal team presented him with a 6,000-page document to prepare him for his grilling.
As if he's going to read that.
This is Boris at the start of the day. That serious hairdo. Mm-hmm. Here he is at the end.
You know it's bad when I'm slagging off your hair. I've heard that apparently he deliberately ruffles himself.
Oh, I've seen him do it on this programme. Hair just come out of makeup, makeup's there, sort of combing his hair and stuff. 15 seconds come out later. Admittedly, there is a wind tunnel between there and here.
But it's an attempt to distract attention from the fact that his answers are all over the place.
Yes.
Just look at his hair and think,
Yes.
why is that so messy? And then you look at what he's saying, which was pitiful.
Yeah.
And he was smirking. He's still taking the piss out of us.
I feel a bit sorry for the guy. He's been called a liar, he's been accused of all sorts of things, but he must be thinking, good news, I can get myself out of this because I've got all those WhatsApps that I sent at the time that are going to prove my innocence. And then he goes to his phone, he's like, oh, you are absolutely kidding me. He doesn't have anyone like MI5 or anyone who can actually get them back. There's nothing he can do.
Shall we be fair? I mean,
Yeah.
technology's not easy.
No.
Here it is in action.
Do you know why your phone was missing those 5,000 odd WhatsApps?
I don't know the exact reason, but it looks as though it's something to do with the app going down and then coming up again, but somehow not automatically erasing all the things between that date when it went down and the moment when it was last backed up. So I can't give you the technical explanation, but that's the best I'm able to give.
That's like having a conversation with my mum. I mean, even my mum's got someone around the corner.
That is, your mum's going to be fuming with that, Richard.
I tell you what, I wouldn't be happy if I were your mum and you've just...
You wouldn't be happy if you were my mum?
That's right. Been invited on the programme as a guest.
And suddenly...
Best-selling novelist, blimey.
And I wouldn't be a good enough son. No, I hear you, I shouldn't say off my mum. But I'm just saying that it's
Oh, you
like...
backtracked that quickly, didn't you?
Boris Johnson was being quizzed about various members of his cabinet during the pandemic. What did he have to say about Matt Hancock?
He supported
He stood
him.
up for him, didn't
Did
he? Yeah. He said he still backs him as a minister.
Over a cliff.
He said he was intellectually able.
No, intellectually a table, but not intellectually able. No way. No way. The man's a buffoon.
Intellectually able. It's not a glowing review, is it? It's
Is
like,
that-
oh yeah, he's capable of thought.
The other thing Boris said, because they were arguing about lockdown, and he said, I'm defending lockdown because it was the only tool I had available. And I thought, God, look at your cabinet.
He didn't chair a lot of the early Cobra meetings about the pandemic, and when he was asked why, he said because he didn't realise that it was sort of a big disaster. But isn't that what Cobra meetings are for? It's for a disaster.
They should have called it Cobra with Cobra and he would have turned up, wouldn't he?
What was Boris keen to deny?
That he'd ever been Prime Minister?
That he was on holiday as
Yes.
COVID was about to hit. One Boris ally told The Telegraph it wasn't true that Boris was focusing on writing his book on Shakespeare. It was a red herring. He wasn't writing a book, lamented his publishers. Boris wanted to go to the Netherlands. Why? Think about the vaccine.
OK.
Oh, didn't he want to send the SS over to steal vaccines?
Very, very close.
No
yes.
way.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, at the height of the vaccine rollout, when the EU threatened to hold on to British-bound vaccine stock being held in a Dutch factory, he considered a covert military raid to go in and get the vaccines.
He just thought he'd nip to the Netherlands and steal some
I
vaccines.
don't think he was going to do it himself.
I was going to say, he's not one to blend in, is he?
He'd been watching some old Second World War films. The Guns of Navarone with vaccine. Cockleshell heroes with syringes.
What are you saying? What are they...
If you want these films, they're on Boxing Day.
What was Dominic Raab referring to this week when he said, I'm a spicy Madras? Keep it clean.
Was it on his Hinge profile?
Was it how far you'd go on a particular policy?
I thought you were going to say on a first date.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to know?
Do we want to know how far Ian would go on a first
Yes.
date? Yes. Yes.
A first date? Well, I might well say good evening.
Oh, he's a korma. He's a chicken korma.
Slow burner. Yeah, Ian, you're absolutely right. It's part of a curry-based code he used as Foreign Secretary to weigh up how likely foreign nationals were to be tortured as a result of MI6
Oh, God, that
intervention.
got dark quick.
A certain politician has been turning viewers off this week. Who's that?
Nigel Farage. I've never seen this programme, but I know that it's not... People find him boring, I think, because he keeps talking about politics. What's he going to talk about? Lego?
One crew member told The Mirror this week one example is a few of them were talking about their favourite movies, and he couldn't come up with a single one.
Cockleshell heroes.
Politics is his life, and basically, outside of that, he's got no personality, which explains why this happened.
I'm too sexy for my love, too sexy for my love. Love's going to leave me. Sexy for my shirt, too sexy for my shirt, so sexy it hurts.
Why are you showing us this stuff? I avoid watching this in the comfort of my own home, and I come to work and there it is.
I'd love to see you in the jungle, Ian.
Oh.
Great.
Would you
Swinging
do
through
it?
the trees on a vine.
I was invited this year.
Yeah.
Were you invited?
Yeah, no.
How much did they offer you, Ian?
They offered me over £1 billion.
Wow. You could get back into England with that.
What's gone up at the BBC?
Oh.
The licence fee.
Correct.
Oh, yeah. £10.50. more, isn't it?
But the government said it can't go up in line with inflation. It has to be, it's about half, isn't it?
Unlike other years, the rise is less than the average annual inflation rate. There is a real question
Yes.
about how this is going to affect the quality of BBC programming. The answer being that's...
Isn't it great that on the day that the licence fee was announced that it was going up, it went to BBC News, where the newsreader greeted you with that?
We got
Oh,
the clip?
yes.
Have you seen this?
I love it.
Very good. It's a split second that she changes, though. I mean, it's really... I mean, has anyone officially timed how quickly we get from that to the Middle East?
You should do that, Naga, every time you do the news. Imagine if you started tonight going, hello, welcome to Have I Got News for You?
BBC Breakfast tomorrow, you and Charlie, both of you, just the first 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Yeah. And now here's Carol with the weather.
I feel like Carol Kirkwood's more of a...
I've never seen Naga looking so uncomfortable.
OK. This is Boris Johnson's evidence at the COVID inquiry, talking about aggressive WhatsApp exchanges between his advisers and the civil service. Boris Johnson told the inquiry that abusive messages are part of the creative process. I'm buying into this, OK? So, Boris, you're a useless tosser. Make of that what you will. According to The Sun, Boris asked scientists whether blowing a special hairdryer up noses could destroy the virus. An idea so ridiculous that when he read it, Donald Trump spat out his bleach. And so to round two, the strengthometer of news. Ian?
Oh.
Oh.
Is that a promise?
You're in a feisty mood tonight, Ian. Have you had a cappuccino?
I've had a tri-latte, mate.
I feel like my mum and dad are having an argument at the dinner table.
Yeah, I'm getting a look.
Yeah.
And she's my mum, so...
Yeah.
Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here's your first one. Buzz in if you know the answer.
Well, this is the garden ornament that the couple had in their garden for many years, decades even, and it turned out to be an unexploded bomb, as the sign helpfully suggests.
You think they would have spotted that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. And I think she said I used to sort of clean the spade on it sometimes, just by knocking the spade and knocking the mud off it.
Yeah, you're bang on. Jeffrey and Sian Edwards of South Wales had left the unexploded missile outside their home for more than 4 decades because they thought it was a garden ornament. This is it.
Yeah.
What else did Mrs. Edwards use the bomb for? Well, she explains.
I used to put new plants in, put fresh, and I'd dig them with my trowel, and it was the right height for me to bang the trowel onto the bomb then to get rid of the excess earth. I've done it for 40... I did it a couple of weeks ago. I've done it for 41 years. I patted the bomb the Thursday morning, and wished it good luck.
How did they discover it was a bomb?
They took it to the Antiques Roadshow.
Did the Saudis try to buy it?
Oh, I think it was a policeman, wasn't it?
Yeah, a passing policeman noticed it in their back garden. Jeffrey Edwards told The Guardian, "We didn't sleep a wink all night. It knocked us for 6.
That's the least it could do.
Yes. The bomb's old spot now awaits a special shrub. Or they could go for one of these lovely cacti, which were found on the beach the other day. An elderly couple were surprised on a recent trip to Wetherspoons. Have you heard of this story?
So have you heard of Wetherspoons?
There's a Facebook game you can play where if you're in a particular Wetherspoons, you can send a thing asking for people to buy you a drink. And a guy was there with his elderly parents.
It was their grandson.
It's their grandson. It was like 10 Downing Street by the end of it, I think.
Yeah. So we can show you the couple, happy couple at the start of the night. There you go. And then the pints, the wine, the shots started to arrive.
Is she thinking to herself, I should have married Cary Grant when I had the chance?
OK, fingers on buzzers, teams. Here is your next one.
This is the tree that Norway sends us every year to thank us for helping them out in the Second World War, and it's a bit rubbish.
It's a bit bare, isn't it?
I think it'd be better off putting the Christmas lights on the crane rather than the tree.
Here's the tree when it set off from Norway.
That's never the same tree.
Well, this is it when it got to Trafalgar Square.
No, they've gone under a low bridge.
There was uncontained fury.
Uncontained fury?
That was the reaction.
Blimey.
That the Daily Mail reported. Send it back. Unimpressed onlookers give their scathing reviews of half-dead Trafalgar Square Christmas tree.
There's going to be a load of Rwandans going, what's this you've sent us?
There have been some comments about it, pretty savage ones, I must say. This is Janet from Sunderland, who said, oh dear.
That's uncontained fury.
Fury, yeah.
When the tree was felled in Norway this year, one local resident said it's 50-50 whether we give them another one.
Well, if we're not nice about this tree, we won't get one next year. Is that...
Well, there's a chance.
I think we'll cope. You know, when you start saying, like, to your gran, they go, I'll just give you the money. Yeah. Just give us the money for a tree and we'll pick one.
Yeah. How do they get it over here? That's not going on a plane, is it? How do they get it over here?
Oh, I thought you said, does it get an Uber here?
Perhaps that's the answer to my question.
Right, everyone says Richard Osman's really clever. He's, I would say, intellectually able.
There was another Christmas tree mishap, which was in Westminster this week.
Was this Rishi turning the lights on? Didn't some of them not come on?
We can take a look.
Oh.
That's the future, the country half in darkness. It was a big metaphor, wasn't it?
A little bit boring on the left.
Full of pricks on the right.
What are cheese lovers in Scotland hoping to get their hands on?
Cheese.
I don't know.
Cheese straws.
It's quite a tough question.
Yeah, it is a tough question, actually.
A smelly minger.
I think we'd have been some time before we got to there.
I shall explain.
Yes.
This is a cheese available in Asda stores across Scotland this festive season, which has been dubbed the world's smelliest. The Minger Munger is Rory Stone. Here he is. He has warned potential buyers about his odour. What do you think he said?
Don't hit it with a trowel.
If you put it in the fridge and you open the door, you think, time to get the dog out the house or something's wrong with Grandpa.
Who'd want that on a cracker?
Yeah.
You know, you could have a smelly minger with a left winger.
Excellent.
This is the news that the Trafalgar Square Christmas tree arrived in a bit of a state. A tree from Norway isn't exactly the most thoughtful gift. They've got millions of them lying around. Just like us giving Norway a copy of Richard Osman's book.
So much for mother love.
Right, finally, fingers on the buzzers, teams.
Yeah.
This is your last one.
As the badge indicates, this is COP28. The United Arab Emirates were hosting it. Hasn't he said that sort of like it's the whole thing is a hoax, that climate change isn't real?
He said there was no evidence.
Is that what he said?
Yeah. It was quite a strange thing for the oil-rich petro-state to say. But it's interesting because they're trying to buy the Telegraph, and I think the two parties will agree on that. Climate, rubbish, not changing.
You can get it at my local newsagent if he really wants to buy it.
Who got caught out on camera during COP28?
Was it that newsreader again?
King Charles.
Going, climate doesn't exist. Or so.
Oh, Sunak, by King Charles's tie.
Yeah, well, there is that. There's another one. Joe Biden's climate envoy, John Kerry, has demonstrated a problem with natural gas.
Oh, no.
Those things that are killing people on a daily basis. And the reality is that...
No. Can you just... It's really worth seeing this again. Just keep an eye on the woman who's on the left.
Yeah. Those things that are killing people on a daily basis. And the reality is that...
I mean, really, in that situation, she should say, stop it, and then he says, which way did it go?
King Charles did make a splash at COP because in a nod to where he stood on the Elgin Marbles row, the King wore a tie adorned with the Greek flag. And Buckingham Palace told the BBC that the tie had been chosen randomly.
From a selection of other
Greek ties. Well, Rishi Sunak posted a picture of the King and him together on social media. A number of people pointed out that it looked like Sunak was telling the King off.
Oh. Charles doesn't look threatened at all, though, does he?
He looks like Sunak's saying, I'm going to grab your tie, and Charles is going, you're going down.
Prince Harry missed out on something this week.
He wasn't invited to a wedding.
Was there anybody you knew?
Duke of Westminster. It was because he couldn't have both William and Harry at his wedding. It's a snub. It's a society wedding.
Oh.
And apparently only one of them can go. And Harry's furious and wounded and hurt, and he's written a book.
The Duke of Westminster sounds like he should be 70.
Yeah,
no, but he's young.
Is he young?
Yeah, he's young and Riz.
What's...
Time now for the odd one out round.
Yep.
Just one between you this week.
Oh, OK.
Your four are Australia, Mo Salah, an iceberg, and King Charles's curtains.
Well, the iceberg, that's the big iceberg that's floated away from all the other ice.
It is?
It is.
Oh.
Is it 5 times the size of Britain or something like that?
What?
Whoa.
It's twice the size of Greater London.
Oh,
Which is still...
Are there other parts of Britain?
Do you know what?
You can only say that in front of a London audience. I don't mean that. I can say it because it was a London audience. I wouldn't say it in Sheffield.
It's so unlike a man to exaggerate size, isn't it?
Well, to compare something to twice the size of Greater London, yes, it is quite rare.
And don't forget, 90% of it's underwater.
Yeah, exactly.
Have they all scored against Chelsea this season?
I think you better tell us.
They've all turned up somewhere unexpectedly, apart from Australia, which hasn't turned up at all. It was recently revealed that if you went onto the search engine Bing and typed, "Does Australia exist?" the answer that comes back is no. The Flat Earth Society refuses to acknowledge the existence of Australia.
How do you tell the Flat Earth Society you exist? Could you not just offer to take them to Australia and be like, no, I'll show you?
Perhaps that's what they're doing. Perhaps they've got relatives in Australia and they can't afford to go there. So they're going, I got this. Yeah, it doesn't exist, mate. Yeah, you can't prove it. And they go, we'll show you. We're going to fly you over on a private jet. And they go, oh, you were right. It does exist. Meanwhile, can I go and see my Uncle Bryn?
Yeah.
Oh, that's clever. I don't think the Maldives exist.
Well, if climate change continues, one day they won't.
How have Australians reacted to the suggestion that they're not real?
Well, they haven't.
I would say with typical robust and bawdy humour.
One person commented saying, "Get off the mushrooms, love, you're talking through your arse."
There we are.
You saw Mo Salah, Liverpool striker. Mo Salah says he plays a game of online chess every day, but people don't believe it's really him. Well, until he wins and runs around the room with his shirt pulled over his head. Let's talk about King Charles's curtains, shall we? Where have they turned up?
Are these big curtains, or are they just little ones, like on a plaque, where you say, "I declare this open," you go...
You don't have to pout when you do it.
Do you not?
Has he re-gifted? Has he? Has he re-gifted them?
Re-gifted his curtains to Prince Harry for Christmas.
He's had all the curtains in Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle taken down.
Yep.
He's turned them into kimonos.
Is it Julie Andrews?
Here's one.
Oh,
That's nice.
that's charming. It looks just like a curtain.
He's made a special blue one. This is what Charles sent to Akshata Sunak. Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication, Canine, the lifestyle magazine for dog lovers. We're going to start with man who takes pet duck to the pub, what?
Stuck with a large bill.
Yes.
Oh, Richard!
There we are.
Man who takes pet duck to the pub says it's a good conversation starter. Now, this is Gillingham man Mark Collier with his duck called Dog.
Is that the hat he wears? You don't need to be bringing a duck if that's the hat you're wearing.
There's a lot of conversation starters there, aren't there?
A duck is a good conversation starter and, in fact, a good starter.
It's also a rather ambiguous phrase, isn't it? The duck is a conversation starter. As if the duck goes around the pub saying, "What was the best holiday you ever had?"
Yeah, he's a real introvert, and the duck is just his wingman. Yeah, wingman.
Yeah.
Oh, you're on fire, Richard.
Doesn't even know he's doing
Didn't
it.
even know I was doing it.
Doesn't even know he's doing it. I bet when you write your books, you think, "Oh, I didn't know that was the killer."
Next, a consequence of selective breeding is what?
The consequence of selective breeding means that your dog will have long, big ears and big eyes and a big tail. What a terrible answer.
Look at his lovely big tail.
Yeah, look at the size of that. That must be twice the size of the Greater London area.
A consequence of selective breeding is that Chihuahuas aren't very good at herding livestock. Well, this is an article from Canine magazine. The intelligence of a dog varies widely depending on the breed. Not all varieties of canine are able to display advanced cognitive functions, said a Cocker Spaniel. Next, shock at World Mullet Championships after what?
I win.
Is that what it is? I thought it was a fish.
What, my haircut was a fish?
Shock at World Mullet.
Shock at World Mullet Championships after British doctor wins title.
Have we got a picture of him?
Of course.
That's lovely. That's lovely. I think the only thing that could improve it is if he matched it with a kimono made of Prince Charles's.
This is the World Mullet Growing Championships held in a pub in Kurri Kurri, 90 miles north of Sydney, also known as Mullet Fest. Doesn't sound much, but it is the #1 highlight of the Australian cultural calendar.
Sorry, of the what cultural calendar?
Next, if you want to live longer, then you should what?
You should have thought about that before taking up competitive chain smoking.
I'll tell you a wild guess. Is it sell your soul to Beelzebub? Lucifer?
Grant Shapps.
Grant Shapps?
If you want to live longer, then you should eat more beans.
Oh.
More beans.
Now, this is according to Helena Pereira dos Santos of Brazil. She's 115 years old.
No.
Doesn't look a day over 114.
I think that's the biggest disparity between the size of earrings and the size of ears I've ever seen in my life. Look at that.
Next, what the size of a car spotted in California?
Oh, this is easy. Car. Parking space.
The answer is tumbleweed, the size of a car spotted in California. Here's the tumbleweed, narrowly missing a car.
Oh, bloody hell.
Oh, wow.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
It's like Donald Trump's been visiting.
Next, a dog that doesn't enjoy a bath will what?
Oh, this is a Samuel Johnson quote, isn't it? A dog that doesn't enjoy a bath will be tired of London. Isn't it?
Oh, we'll look like Boris Johnson within 3 days?
It's that Japanese proverb, a dog that doesn't enjoy a bath will prosper in the shower.
A dog that doesn't enjoy a bath will have nightmares about having a bath.
Oh, how do you know?
You see their little paws going when they're sleeping, don't you?
No.
Finally, Etiquette Guide says it's now acceptable to what at dinner parties?
To fart in front of an archbishop. It's that old joke, isn't it? How dare you fart before the archbishop? I'm awfully sorry, I didn't know it was his turn.
No.
Is it to offer Black Forest Gatto? I know, it's an awful thought. Is it take cocaine?
Why did that suddenly sound like a line from an Oscar Wilde play? Where do you keep your cocaine? In a handbag?
Etiquette Guide says it's now acceptable to talk about sex at dinner parties. Do remember, though, it's never acceptable to talk about dinner at an orgy. The final scores are Ian and Maisie.
We're still on 2, aren't we?
This is worse than when I went on the chase.
Paul and Richard, you've progressed to 6.
6.
Well done.
There we are.
Very
Well
good.
done.
I'm going to apologise to Maisie and say I'm really sorry, it wasn't my fault, I was badly advised collectively. And I am very, very sorry.
Now, I would just like to say about Ian, he's actually very intellectually able.
Before we go, there's just time for the caption competition.
It's a misquote from Richard III. A duck, my kingdom. For a duck.
And the duck is saying, and which pub are we going to tonight? Is the man in the back saying, where'd you get that? And the duck says, I won him in a raffle.
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop, Maisie Adam, Paul Merton and Richard Osman. And I leave you with news that during a foreign policy meeting at Number 10, there's an unscheduled break in proceedings after Larry the cat climbs onto a ceiling fan. In Westminster, there's evidence that Keir Starmer has spent the last 10 minutes listening to Angela Rayner. And at a warehouse rave in Hackney Wick after the bar runs out of bottled water, there are concerns that Michael Gove may be a little dehydrated. Good night.